and we're off. Ooh, it feels immediately, oh, there's turbo. There's turbo, oh my God. Pitch it in under braking, trail braking, holy ah! What's happened? Oh my God, this is so much, why is this so much harder? Hey, welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt. This thing's name is the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe, or Rubicon X. And believe it or not, this 2024 is updated. But the big thing here is the fact that it's got the Rubicon package and it's the 4xe. And the 4xe is their plug-in hybrid. And it's a big deal because it signifies 40% of all Wrangler sales here in the States. So this is a big deal for Jeep. But the question that we want answered today is this better than a Bronco? So today we're gonna hit the best and the rest, starting with the rest. And the first thing we have to talk about, it's not really a surprise, but it's the price, and it's expensive. Now this thing starts at about $60,000, but as tested, it's $77K. $8,500 for the Rubicon X package, $3,300 for the fabric skytop roof, $2,000 for the worn winch, and $600 for the Earl Grey paint. And all that $77,000 price tag puts it above the Bronco in a lot of places. Now with that said, the Bronco does not have a plug-in hybrid or a normal hybrid or any type of electric capabilities, but we'll talk about that more later. And then we're going to talk about the on-road experience. I mean, they put effort into reducing NVH and isolating out things like Bluetooth calls and stuff, but it's still a Jeep Wrangler. It's still body on frame, still solid front axle, still has recirculating ball steering. And that means it thunks around over bumps. It's almost allergic to staying in a straight line without constant corrections. And I mean, you can't even fit any type of like lane keep or lane centering on this thing. My assumption is because it's solid front axle and has recirculating ball steering. And it's loud, especially at highway speeds. It is loud, but all this is part of the Jeep Wrangler charm and some of the sacrifices that you make to have one of the most elite off-roader experiences with the roof that goes all the way back and the doors that come off, and it's just kind of part of the experience. So you tend to forgive some of that stuff, but you have to forgive less of it in the Bronco. And this next one was a weird thing to me because even Toyota in their old school ways have managed to fit 360 cameras to their 4Runner and their Tacoma and their Tundra and Sequoia. And you kind of want those things for trail running. You do have a front camera and a rear camera here, but nothing to really spot tolerances on the side of the trail. I mean, GM is fitting cameras underneath their off-roaders for max spotter-ing. So I kind of expected that there would be a 360 camera here on your Wrangler Rubicon X. And this next thing is kind of a niche bummer, but we have to talk about it. The 4xe we have here gets 33-inch all-terrain tires, BFG KO2, great. It's still bigger tires than you'd get on a Tundra TRD Pro. Those are like 32-inch, softer all-terrains. But Jeep came out with the Xtreme Recon package a couple of years ago, which brings 35-inch tires to the equation, aka the size everyone wants. And for whatever reason, you cannot spec the Xtreme Recons with the 35-inch tire on your 4xe. Just can't do it. This is another kind of relative bummer because the 4xe gets downgraded in its towing to 3,500 pounds. The Pentastar V6 will tow up to 5,000 pounds, so 1,500 pounds more. But since this 4xe is like 5,200 pounds, it has to lug around its own weight in addition to whatever you're towing. And then we're going to talk about fuel economy. And I know it's a hybrid and I'm glad it's here. And obviously customers are excited about it because 40% of Wrangler sales are the 4xe. But if we were expecting Prius-type fuel economy, you are going to be shocked. In hybrid mode, I've been getting like 20 mpg combined, but the Bronco is doing that without a hybrid. And then if you go into e-save mode to save your electric range, your economy drops to like, I was seeing 15. I was hovering around 15 mpg, and that's maybe depending on which way the wind is blowing, so it could be better, could be worse. So yeah, it's not Greta approved, I'd bet, but in electric mode, it's great. And this one made me laugh just due to the reasoning that I heard of why they didn't add this. The Wrangler does not offer a fully digital instrument cluster, of course, while the Bronco does. And Jeep's reasoning is they don't want to overwhelm, quote, overwhelm customers, which made me scratch my head and wonder what they think of their customers, because this is a technology that's been out for like a decade already. Are Jeep people really that averse to change? I mean, they're not 4Runner people. But anyway, let's talk about all the places that this thing shines. The first thing, and obviously the thing that you want to talk about, is the off-road kit. Now the Wrangler itself, as a platform, is one of the most legendary and iconic off-roaders of all time, but this thing has the Rubicon X package, which just takes things up to a whole nother level. The Rubicon X package is $8,500 worth of off-road goodies. You get steel front bumpers, you get skids underneath, you get rock rails around the side, so you've got all sorts of protection. You've got disconnecting front sway bars for max articulation around boulders. You've got front and rear locking differentials, which is something that you're not going to get in Toyotas. And your wheels and tires have been upgraded. You've got these BFG KO2 all-terrain Baja Champion tires wrapped around small diameter wheels. The Rubicon X package also comes with full LEDs as standard, and you also get adaptive cruise standard on these Rubicons. Plus there's a whole host of off-roading software and goodies to help you do trail running things. But first, we're going to send this thing around Road America's off-road course. So here at Downshift, you already know we're all about useful consumer advice. So here's something that no one's ever asked for. Is the Wrangler 4xe faster around an off-road course in full electric mode or in hybrid mode? Well, today's your lucky day, because we're going to find out. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. I should also mention, I can't floor it because that'll kick on the gas engine. So it'll be a little bit of a slow start, but we're gonna get to going. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, it's weird, it's so quiet. It's so quiet. Ooh, it doesn't love to brake. It's heavy. It actually feels pretty quick though. The immediate torque is really something on this off-road stuff. Where did my forward-facing camera go? That's where I need it. Why have you turned off? Why have you abandoned me? Like my father. Just kidding, Dad, I love you. This feels quick though. It is weird to have no sound. All right, here comes the ruddy bits. Oh, huck it in. Oh, there's a big old boulder there. Careful now, careful now. Brake for the ruddy bits. Don't kill Kelly's Jeep. Coming up. Good approach. Again, forward-facing camera goes off at certain speeds. Now I've lost it entirely. Ah! Rotate, rotate. Doesn't want to rotate. Doesn't want to rotate. Ooh, there we go. And across the line. Okay, we're in hybrid mode. Yes, good. All right. Front-facing camera on. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Nope, I'm in park. I wish I could say that that's the first time I've done that, but we did that in the Bronco Raptor too. 3, 2, 1. And we're off. Ooh, it feels immediately. Oh, there's turbo. There's turbo. Oh my God. Pitch it in under braking. Trail braking. Holy shit. Ah! What's happened? Oh my God, this is so much. Why is this so much harder? Oh, I've lost front-facing camera. Oh, it's weird. It's like there's something affecting the steering in terms of how it's producing power. It's not as linear or natural as the electric. It does feel noticeably faster though. I'm gonna avoid that rut a little bit more if I can. Yeah, see, the turbo just wants to shove it along. You actually have so much more control and finesse with just the electric. Up the hill, up the hill, up the hill. Brake at the top for breakover and down the hill. Woo! There's that tummy in the air feeling. Whoa! Get it around on power. Not that much. Stupid recirculating ball steering. On power, rotate it and across the line. Wow, that was a handful and a half. I gotta be honest. When we came into this first corner, it got on power right about here and then just completely lost it over here. The steering is not as fast. Not as fast, not as much finesse. Ooh, that was fun though. So yeah, this is not a Baja vehicle. So when you go over a certain speed, the front-facing camera is going to turn off because I'm not in Baja mode. There is not a Baja mode. So yeah, something to be aware of. And one of the coolest things that they added for 2024 here with the facelift is a whole suite of off-road goodies that you can access through your new big screen. You do have your usual stuff like your off-road pages, but now you have things like adventure guides, and you've got GPS trail logs. And they came up with stuff like the GPS trail logs by showing up to Jeep functions and seeing everyone running Gaia GPS, and they're like, maybe we should give them that from the factory. And then you can do things like trail recordings, and you can even mount things to your dash, like the influencer package from a Bronco. But honestly, all legitimate and thoughtful things to help you trail run and overland to the best of the vehicle's capability, which seems endless. And then there's the styling. They didn't change a lot for 2024, but they didn't need to. It still looks badass. The biggest change is simply the grille revision. It's smaller and darker than last year, and that's largely to make room for the 8,000-pound worn winch that you can now get from the factory. But the rest is kind of standard Wrangler fare. You've got Earl Grey paint, which looks great with the blue accents for the 4xe, and the 33-inch tires look aggressive, even if they're not 35s. I do find myself looking back after I've walked away from this thing and thinking, yeah, that looks pretty schlick. And this is really nice. This is something we've seen GM roll out with their new Colorado and their Canyon, but they're giving you the big screen here as standard across all the trims. You get the big screen. It's 12.3 inches and it's great. It's running the latest Uconnect 5 system, it's pretty responsive, and the graphics are sharp. You've got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you can get over-the-air updates to update things like your native navigation and your trail maps. It's a great system, and I love the fact that you can get the big screen as standard. If I remember earlier in the video when I was kind of complaining about the on-road experience, but this is the big benefit here for me and so many other people, and it's the option of having the 20 miles of fully electric range. The 2.0, the turbocharged 4-cylinder, it's wheezy, it's unrefined. The swap from electric to gas is not seamless. You know, we've got a Toyota hybrid in the driveway this week as well, and that just kind of punishes the fact, that stark comparison where this is not as refined as that. But in fully electric mode, this thing is really smooth. It makes weird noises if you're on the outside of it, and if you've ever been on the outside of a 4xe driving around, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But on the inside, it transforms the driving experience. And when I was crawling through the forests in Road America, creeping along in electric mode, it was so peaceful as the leaves started to fall. This is something the Bronco can't do, the 4Runner can't do, and it's legitimately great. And I charged it all from flat to full in under 2.5 hours with my new Emporia charger, which is awesome. And you should definitely get something like that if you're going to get something like a plug-in hybrid or a full EV. And if you want, I'll save you 5% on your Emporia with a link in the description. Check it out. And aside from the screen, there weren't huge changes to the interior design, but there are some big changes that they've made to things that you can't see. You now get side curtain airbags as standard on all trims, aside from the base sport trim. And they did make an effort to reduce NVH and quiet things down, which I guess worked, but not exactly in a transformative fashion. But after all, it's still a Wrangler. And then just generally, I like the interior here. It feels tight, but I like some of the details and materials more than I do in the Bronco. I like the blue accents everywhere for the 4xe. I think the rubber carbon fiber is kind of funny. And I like the skytop roof, which again, you can't get in the Bronco. And it doesn't have that feeling of cheap with the thin veil of durability like sometimes you get in some of the Broncos I've tested. Not bad interior. And the trunk is unchanged, but that's fine because I never had a problem with it, and I think size-wise it's competitive with the Bronco, if not maybe a little bigger. In the 4xe here you get about 28 cubic feet of space, which is about 5 less than a non-4xe, but still spacious enough. Honestly, the only issue is when you fold the rear seats and you still have a huge hump where the trunk meets the back of the seats, so if you were planning to sleep and overland this thing, you'll need to level it out. That's just because the battery's under the rear seats. And you still get the classic JL schematics on your swing-out tailgate. Pretty cool. And then the rear seats are about the same, which is to say, not palatial, but appropriate. They don't slide or recline or anything, but they're spacious enough for 6-footers like myself. And the battery pack is actually underneath them, but don't worry, it is water sealed. And of course, you have chargers and vents, and the roof goes all the way back. And when it's open, it feels really cool and kind of that open air experience. It's not a bad place to spend time, but it might have been if you had gone for the 2-door version. I don't know, I've never had a go in the 2-door, but it seems like it would be small. The Bronco 2-door sure was. But with all that covered, that's enough talk. Let's go for a little bit of a drive. All right, we are in hybrid mode. Nope. Now we are in hybrid mode, and then we'll send it. Wheezy, second, third gear. Third gear is when it pulls. There it is. Maybe it's because we're already moving and I'm starting to hear some of the air whoosh around the body, but third gear is when it really starts to feel like it's moving. this thing's got some pretty decent power. You know, it's the 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, but with the hybrid system, it's got 2 electric motors. It does about 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet. Same torque figure as the V8. 0 to 60 about 6 seconds, so it's not slow, but it's not really the point. The point is to go into electric mode here. Then you've got 20-ish miles of electric, and then it's so much nicer. You know, you don't have that wheezy 4-cylinder, you know, thumping at you. It's quiet, it's refined. The way that it makes power and pulls away is much more graceful. You can recoup with this, you know, regen button here. It's so much nicer, and that's when I've started to notice the fact that you have improved steering from the last time I was in a 4xe. I think it was about 2 years ago, so it was pre-facelift, and it was allergic to going in a straight line. You needed constant corrections, but this is so much better. I mean, it's still recirculating ball. It's not rack and pinion. It's not going to have the same finesse as like a Bronco or anything else, but it's better than it was, and I guess I'll take that. Now, that being said, they've also added in some additional, you know, NVH enhancers, or I guess dehancers, to make the cabin a little bit more refined. I believe them when they say it. I don't exactly experience it. It's not a transformed experience. It's not all of a sudden like a Rolls Royce in here or anything, but it's very much still a Wrangler, and I think that's kind of the point. We're not going to get into everything here. This is just kind of a quick drive to talk about stuff, but it still is a Wrangler. They didn't change a lot. Everything's kind of the same. You get a bigger screen here, which is great. You've got a slightly new face. You get the winch now. You get the antenna that's now in there, and you get side curtain airbags. So there's like some safety changes that they've made, and maybe like a little finessing and some sanding of rough edges, but it is still very much a Wrangler experience. And I think that's where we wrap out. So that is the best and the rest of the new Wrangler Rubicon X with the 4xe. And the verdict is, it's fine. It's kind of more what it was than what it wasn't. And if you're not gonna get the V8 and you're not gonna get the plug-in hybrid, you're gonna get just the 2-liter turbo or the Pentastar V6, my perspective would be to go for the Bronco. But the V8, which you can't get in the Bronco, is incredible. And this 4xe here makes a lot of sense, especially if you live within 20 miles of where you work, and if you can charge at work. You can basically ride around on electric all the time, which is very smooth and very good. And I'm getting ahead of myself. But the point is, it's pretty good. So thanks to Jeep for letting me have a go, and we'll see you in the next one.